Hello there, friends. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. It is 11 a.m., February 11th, 2025. And yes, I do have to check over in the corner of my computer screen just to keep track. The days, they be going. How are we doing today? I hope you're having a fantastic Tuesday. We're here, super low energy. We are, I won't say tired. I wouldn't say exhausted. We went straight to the energy drink this morning, and we pulled ourselves out of bed. And I think we're just starting to come to life again. We're getting there. That being said, hello, welcome. I'm Casey, aka Uncommon, and we're here to learn the draw. I'm here to learn the draw. I'm not here to teach you how to draw, although you're welcome to draw along and hang out. We're not making any big masterpieces here. This is quite literally a beginner's... 19th day. Change that number. It's quite literally beginner's 19th day. Focusing and learning. There we go. About doodling and drawing stuff. As true with the water check. I got you. On the back here of my energy drink, it does in fact say carbonated water. Main ingredient. We're good. Water. Check. Thank you, keeping me hydrated. Ooh, okay, so, plan for the day. The plan for the day. It's gonna be to draw. Let's get my thing set up over here, and I think the music feels a tad loud, but our perspective of the music's always a little different. Let's get this over here, get the microphone, we just take it and we lift it and put it right on the other side of that tablet. Finding that position has felt pretty good. I was for a while there with the microphone off to the right, kind of leaning over to talk to it. Here we are. Glove ready. Art button, go. There we go. Clip Studio with fantastic little piece of program here. I might have even considered Photoshop as an option if we had a non-subscription method. But I have paid my Clip Studio Pro license. I now have Clip Studio. Is it Pro? Is that the CSP, right? Yeah. CSP, Clip Studio Pro. Paid my license. I have a thing now. Anyway. Actually bought it a second time. I now have it twice. Because I bought it originally with 2.0. When 2.0 launched. And bought it again about a month ago with 3.0. Came with a 4.0 license. If you bought the 3.0, I figured we'd just upgrade all at once. That's nice. Just putting lines down right now, just kind of warm it up. We have some ideas today. Find some weaknesses in my own art. Is that as I'm doodling and drawing on the tablet, I go faster than when I'm on paper. I'm just so free to throw lines down that I think I'm not carefully considering line placement, pen control, and all those things as much as I would on a piece of paper. So I want to sit down and do forms, and shapes. We won't say forms, shapes for a while. We'll do some 3D boxes. And then I think we're gonna do a hand study. Let's look at probably some real hands. So there's two ways I think to go about this. And I'm not sure which is best. Either I study hands in real life and try to draw them on paper. You know, line in lines, line work, rather than color or paint or anyway. Or I look up hands that have already been drawn, that have already had that step of converting from 3D to 2D taken out of the equation. Alright, let's go and put a line down. Let's put a couple. And let's get in here. Pen control. That's a line. Actual pen. Not a lot of control happening there. See, theoretically, this is the easy line, but I need to start moving the paper around to accommodate. Just look at the nub and the placement of the pen. There's another consideration as a transition from paper to digital. So I put the pen down, and where the mark actually is compared to the pencil, the tilt throws it in a direction. Tilting the pen does throw it in a direction. Straight on, it's a little low, just barely perceptible. No, not spot on. If I move my head above it, it looks low. Okay, that's all just me. It's lined up fine. Let's go the opposite way. See, these lines really need some help. We go slow, we got the wobbliness. Go fast, we actually lose all accuracy. Let's ghost a few lines from the perfect angle, see what we get. It's interesting because ghosting the line, it helps, but it's always like the second line I put down, you saw there, that felt better than the first one. So we ghost the line. Like, we can even make this an easier line. Move it just a bit. We ghost the first line. I can see the nub kind of ending. It is wobbling. Let's try to go a little more confident. Boom. Boom, second line. Oh, second line followed the first. There's a line in there somewhere, guys. Okay. Word. Word. Lines, shapes, hands today. let's work our way through that pen control exercise. Let's come back over here for a moment. Okay, we're good. I operate this page at about 150. And let's rotate it today. Let's do an angle we're good at, because we're feeling rough about our line control. So let's do the good angle. We'll move the line. Or, excuse me, we'll move the pages. We need it today. We're feeling a little better. Didn't ghost that one too well. Cool. All right. Alright, so using a small brush, which we have, split the area of the rectangle vertically without the lines touching themselves. Let's actually go with a brush. Is that going to be much of a difference? That's a little opaque. That's a little thick, but we can change that to a 12. Alright, let's do that. There are also some portions of this class I've been ignoring. I'd like to not ignore. Specifically, like the Photoshop portions in the very beginning. There's some assignments where I've got to do some blending and hue changes. I need to do those. And they're Photoshop specific, so it's even another step to learn how to do those things in this software. But so far, from what I can tell, all those elements are in similar places with similar names. I might have to go to File instead of Edit for settings, you know, things like that, but I do want to learn some of the Photoshop production stuff as it pertains to me in Clip Studio. So I'm going to highlight that line a little bigger. Okay, here we go. Split again. Redo some of those lines. I need them to be darker. But also, the darker they are, the thicker they are. Because we are working with a brush. And the thicker they are, the harder it is to cut the next line in half. But also, at this speed, I'm feeling pretty good about the accuracy of the split. Maybe not the quality and the straightness of the lines. Just that the line starts and ends and doesn't cross another line. Ooh, okay, that one didn't do it. That one barely pulled it off. We need a thicker line there to tell. The line didn't quite make it across the finish line. And we're pretty good. Alright. Right down here. Let's add some color. If we're using a paintbrush, let's color. Like we were talking about yesterday, finding the speed. The right speed to draw these is one of my thoughts and challenges. I'd like the line to be confident and accurate. We lose some of that at each of the extreme speeds. We didn't ghost that one. We should ghost it. Oh, this one's an angle. Random topic thoughts. Random thoughts. Things to say that aren't the things I'm doing. I started watching season 2 of the Squid Game. That's been fun. I'm 3 episodes in. I wanted to get to the episode they kept showing in the trailer where our main character tries to save people. It ended up being a really good episode. 3rd one in. Spoilers, by the way. I guess for the first 3 episodes. It's taking me some time. I didn't watch all 3 in one sitting. I've been kind of watching them when I bike. Let's go bigger. Regardless, I think they did a pretty good job of, at least so far, giving me a different story to tell. Because we've seen the first one. We know what it's about. We don't need to spend time learning about what the games are. But we're getting some back scenes peek now. Peeks at the behind the scenes. And what's going on with the production. Or at least one of the mask people. A couple of them. Alright, we're unlocking that mystery a little more. Alright, enough about that one. Deletes. Let's go back to the warm-up section. I got this whole page to play with. We gotta start doing shapes and breaking down kind of the three-dimensional feel of it. So, like, for example, I'm pretty bad at cylinders. You know, let's say we have my cylinder. I'm going to do one to the best of my ability. Put one more in the middle. Right, now there's a lack of, doesn't feel three-dimensional. Maybe we edit out some of the inside lines that we wouldn't normally be able to see. And the idea doesn't feel that gut feeling about 3-dimension. And we say feeling. I used to do grammar the same way. Passed every grammar test I ever took by looking at the sentence provided and going, does that feel correct? Which one feels more correct than the other? Never knew the rules. You just kind of know your language well enough, I guess. So that's either a great technique or a tool available to me in art, or it's going to get me in trouble. Okay. So let's rotate that. It's this curve, I think, is the hardest. The inside curves, right? Pretty tough. The other thing that's tough is drawing the right size of the cylinder so that the farthest edge is the edge of the cylinder, which is why we started with the cylinder. That's also the shape that should be at the bottom. Hey, Gabriel. Hello, hello. Welcome. Hope you're having a fantastic Tuesday. For those of you who are new and stopping by for the first time, hello and welcome. I am Uncommon. We're learning to draw. We don't really know how. We're not making masterpieces. We're not teaching anything here. We are, in fact, learning. So, welcome. I'm doing pretty fantastic. Thank you for asking. We do tend to beat ourselves up a bunch when we're drawing. Fortunately, those are mostly internal thoughts. You know, we're not shouting those at you guys. Unfortunately, that does keep me from drawing as long as I'd like when I do it. This feels a little flat right there. If we can round it out just a bit, maybe. I don't know how to draw well either. Well, welcome. See, the wanting to be good at drawing has been a general goal of mine for decades. And I started and stopped and started and stopped the learning process several times over those decades. I'd say at least a dozen times. And this is what I've been missing, is the time. Not that I didn't have the time, I didn't take the time. I did other things instead. Some of which, you know, gaming and hanging out with friends and, you know, anything but actually putting the work in. But we're here today. We're here on stream. We're using the stream as a forcing function to get myself drawing. Oh, with starting the edge of the circle back here, I don't know if it's helping or hurting. I feel like it's not quite lined up because I can see like this edge here and that edge aren't quite meeting. Yeah, they're touching, like they're touching, but they're not the same line, which is what should be happening. Something you just need to draw. Sometimes you just need to draw what you want, even if it ends up being bad. I've been drawing since last year, but I've only taken it seriously since last week. What's been your method in the last week for getting going? It's definitely been a question of my own when you talk about what do you want to draw, because figuring out what to draw on any given day has been a little bit of a challenge. I have a couple days where I find something I want to draw. I have a lot more days where I have to make myself pick something. The end result is usually that I feel good about having done it. Cylinders. Rotating in the same way. Let's rotate it. So we're doing a lot of this exact oval. We're trying to take our time a bit because we have been speeding through things. So 2 points here. Let's make the oval different. Let's make it a little wider. Or the cylinder, I believe, is the proper term. Yeah, let's not rush it. And let's get our pin position correctly. That's better. Let's go this way with it. Overcoming a bad pin position is another one of my... We're doing a lot. We're stacking on a lot of learning techniques at the moment. Alright, so this line here should be about the same as the other, as this line here. Again, our thumb, we crank our thumb, we pull on it if we hold the pen wrong, and it ends up hurting after a short period of time. So we're trying to work out a new grip, and we just intuitively keep going back to the one we grew up on. Hey Astrid, I can never get myself to draw unless I'm watching an art stream. Really? Is that a go-to? I might have to try that. I know the last art stream I watched, I did end up doodling along with the stream, so maybe there's something to that magic. Gabriel says, so like last week I made a drawing that was kind of good, then I decided I was going to watch some videos about this stuff, and now I know how to draw some basic shadows, perspective and stuff. Perspective is still pretty hard. I've been going from art stream to art stream to see what people do, so I myself can get better. Perspective is definitely it's one of the places we're spending some time recently. A little bit of that comes out in the cylinders. I'm doing Drawbox, and they're doing some amount of perspective. They would tell you it's not a linear perspective course, but we spend a lot of time drawing boxes. I'm trying to make my way into the 250 box challenge. Been doing a lot of that work off stream. Usually Sundays. I sat down, I was doing Drawbox. I am 2 pages left from finishing lesson 1. That's a bit. Okay, so maybe the issue here is all these lines I'm drawing are parallel. These are all parallel lines, and they shouldn't be. They should be doing some level of convergence that I'm for just ignoring for some reason. So let's think about that then. Oh, and what is draw is mostly my original character, though. I did use to draw the gaming stuff, and so that's a nice advantage I've seen some people have, is they've landed on a thing that they want to draw, and they're really happy drawing it repeatedly. An original character or a style. That's lovely. I haven't landed there yet. We don't know. Hey, Roach. Look at some great looking cylinders. Thank you. Much appreciated. We're working. Let's try this one again, but with perspective. 'Cause maybe that's why my brain isn't latching on to the three-dimensionality of the shapes. Thicken the lines a bit to hide our mistakes, apparently. Okay, looks a little better. This line here comes out a bit, right? And you can see the circle's a little wide, or the lines aren't quite wide enough. Let's try a repair on that. So we bring it back out, and then we bring the lines back over, or, you know, out a bit. Back in still. We just keep thickening it until it's correct? No, but we'll come back out here. Thin that line. Redo the circles. And let's rotate it back around. Looks better. That actually looks a little better, because it's not this flat shape. We need to come in with these shapes and bring them in. Redo the bottom. And again, not hold the we are talking out loud. I'm throwing my thoughts out there as I draw. This is kind of my flow, at least on stream, so, you know, so I say sorry for that. But I'm holding my thumb again. I had to stop myself. I learned to write like this, and as I squeeze and draw, eventually my thumb begins to hurt. So this regular ass tripod grip that you all can probably do, super uncomfortable. I've actually sat down and tried to like write the alphabet out a few times. A, B, C, D. I have to do A, B, C, D, G, H, I. Okay, J. Okay, J. I know the alphabet. But while talking out loud, trying to get the alphabet correctly, threw me off apparently. Anyway, yeah. I have been doing that my whole life. And anytime I, were to handwrite for any long period of time, I would hurt my thumb. And it took me a week or so to realize what was going on when I was drawing, and that I've just created my own grip my whole life. So like when I draw a line using, so let's say the wrist, right? I could totally hold the pen like this all day, and I feel really good about it. This is easy. These are, super confident lines. As soon as I do the proper grip, you can see we start to fall apart. I'm just trying to replicate the same close, quick hash lines. It's not something I can't overcome, but it's something I've kind of beat myself into having to overcome. Have you tried Drawbox? I have tried Drawbox. I have actually. Let me reach back here. I have most of my lesson 1 work almost ready to go. It is almost complete. We just finished that assignment there. We're at the end of lesson 1. I've got 1 of 6 boxes filled in for the last homework assignment. As soon as I finish that, we take pictures of it all, we submit it. We'll sign up for the Patreon and get the official review. Because it is one thing I'm lacking as a self-taught guy, is good feedback. Quality feedback. Whew. Hey, welcome back, Gabriel. I think my biggest difficulty is the fact that I use a mouse. That's fair. I mean, you can make art with a mouse. It's something that can be done. That's I don't know, man. I don't have a good like you know if you're using a mouse, that's gonna be a challenge. Roach says your pencil broke, so I'm going traditional for the time being. I was back and forth on traditional. I wanna be a hybrid. I still want to be able to sketch out stuff with pen and paper and pencil. Right? I still want to be able to I want to be able to walk around without a digital tablet and draw. Right? I think that sounds amazing. Just be able to pop out a sketch, feel good, be used to a limited amount of the traditional media. But when I started getting into charcoal pencils and that way traditional artists sharpen even a regular graphite pencil, I decided I wanted to lean more traditional to avoid some of that work. I wanted to lean more digital to avoid some of that. Yeah. I like the ink. I want to use pens and pencils. I like the inking process. Let me do another set of the alphabet. Just need to really start hammering in this grip. Yeah, being self-taught is tough. I'm working on that now. I plan on, one of my goals now, I plan on going back to school for art. I have what remains, well, I have the entirety of my GI Bill from my time in service. So they will entirely pay for the college, plus some. And that just seems like an excellent opportunity to use a benefit that I would otherwise let go to waste. So this spring, I'll start applying some stuff in the area, see how much my current degree, because I have an information technology management degree that I completed in like 2009. I'll see how many credits that gets me. The hope is I can avoid most of the core credits and just do a lot of the art stuff and get that traditional teaching to help round out my process. Let's see. If you need feedback, the one sideways looks good, but the one from the front is kind of weird. So what's it, real quick? So you're saying, I'm going to assume you meant this one looks, that one looks weird, that one looks fine. That's my assumption, because that's what I'm seeing now. I'll get a digital tablet soon, but for now I have to stick with improving my imagination and memory about art. Because if you draw an arm, you need to know the muscles and stuff. That's fair. No, anatomy is just one of those fundamentals I gotta get to for sure. I understand that. I've got a lot of, fundamental muscles to work on. The order in which we tackle these things, of course, is going to be a little different for all of us. So what about the, I guess, drawing with the mouse? What software are you using? What kind of things are you able to draw with just the mouse? Oh, let's go back to cylinders. I definitely need to stop drawing with my OC because it's a little too complex. Oh, real quick, X is weird and V is less weird, but still weird. What I meant were the other ones. Okay, let's see. You need to feedback. The one sideways looks good, but the ones for the front. Okay. I see. Yeah, these being the sideways ones. Oh, I guess we just keep working it. can't buy drawing software, so I use Krita. I've heard really good things about Krita, though. So I don't think you've made any bad decisions there. Just keep the pencil. I like the pencil for this stuff. We're gonna do a lot of foreshortening on this one. I ended up leaning a lot towards Clip Studio myself, but that's I never heard of Krita. That was a recent thing. Someone told me about it. I may have went that direction instead. But it's really in opposition to like Photoshop being a monthly subscription. Really didn't want a monthly subscription for my paint software or my, drawing software. I think the bottom looks the worst here. We gotta get that curve into the bottom of it, and then it definitely like extends out. That way. Theoretically, this line is good. Let's try it from this direction. Get some convergence. Clean up the circle a bit. It definitely needs some work. This line gets a little thicker because we took the circle out a bit. And we keep this shape. Oof, we're making a mess over here with lines. We've got to pick a line. Oof. Before that, I use Clicky. Clicky's pretty good for mouse single, so it's simple, but it doesn't have different brushes and stuff, so it's kind of mid. Astrid uses Krita. Krita's way better, though. I'm going to have to take a look at Krita. I'm probably, bought into my own software, but... Oh, excuse me. Oh, stretching. Oh. Whew. But I would love to be able to run through it, take a real look at it for myself. Alright, let's try an awkward shape. I've seen examples of this, and I probably needed to do some review, but let's say the circle is here, and the other circle is here. We follow ourselves, say, around like that. We turn this into a three-dimensional shape, same way we've been doing the others. Where we give it a curve, maybe clean it up, make it an actual parallel line. At some point in the middle, this becomes a straight line, and then the curve of the tube. Try to give this a three-dimensional shape. this circle needs some help too. Clean that up a bit. Darken some of the lines. Maybe even straighten some of them. I'm not sure where we're going here, but I feel like the idea on the left side is almost there. Yeah. Create is good because it was has a hell of a lot of brushes. Clip Studio allows you to create brushes, so there's a whole bunch of user-created brushes you can use. I need to explore those more. I've been mostly sticking, almost entirely sticking to the G Pen, the pencil. But I know there's a lot of really popular brushes out there I should take a look at. Last time I looked, I landed on these 4. So we got the Turtle Pen, which looks like this. A little bit of calligraphy. The new Turtle Pen. Looks like that. Very similar. They all look a little pixelated. And I think they were trying to duplicate like a real-life pencil. Or a real-life ink pen. We've got the Lazy Brush, which was popular too. That just feels like a worse G Pen. But maybe, I mean, I guess what do I know? And then there was this line art brush, which was really going for an ink look. And when I zoom in on that, it's, you know, feels very pixelated. Maybe it just feels best at like, yeah, zoomed out 100%. So we're still testing brushes out, finding spaces that, trying to find something that feels good and jumps out at me. I'm just going for the one I don't need to pay for, to be honest. No, that's perfect. I think Krita gets you, Krita is pretty good from what I'm being told constantly. I mean, I'll say Clip Studio is probably great for the price point, but only when I stop to think about what Photoshop used to cost and or their subscription model now. Much better than it was. Like when I first started drawing, I think the only answer was like Photoshop or GIMP. And I mean, Photoshop back in the 2000s was expensive then, and then updates every year that you had to pay for. And then GIMP was more photo editing than drawing, but probably got the job done. I mean, what do I know? All I know right now is I use pencil to sketch, pen to line, and then airbrush for shading. There it is. Airbrush. I hadn't thought about the airbrush for shading. I've been using like the round mixing brush right here for colors. If I look at the airbrush, let's get some weight on that. That feels pretty good too. That's one thing I haven't looked up. I don't really know what people do for painting in, I guess, any digital software. I did learn a little bit about adding layers and then making those layers, say, darken or multiply. And then I can go and I can, is it darken? No, it's multiply. It's multiply. could then come in there and shade. Although I thought one of them, I thought one of them didn't draw on transparency. But I might be thinking something else. I might be thinking a different one of these drop downs. Oh well, we'll figure it out. Painting though, that is something I need to look into at some point. Right, we're taking our fundamentals slowly, and there's a point where I'm going to get into color. But we have painted a couple of things with my limited knowledge, and it's been fun. It's been some of the most fun of putting something down is what I'm essentially just going to call coloring. It's fun to just color. Specifically because when you're in mouse, because the airbrush gets weaker in its end, so it creates better shading since the shadow gets weaker and weaker. Specifically when you're... Okay, so what you're saying is because you don't have like the touch sensitivity, airbrush allows you to achieve that with the mouse. That's super cool. Alright, let's use lazy brush and we'll do another... Now we're going back to pencil. Pencil feels good for like the sketching because it gets darker the more I sketch over the same line. The sensitivity feels good. Like pencil feels great for a sketch. You know, let's do a second time and do like a rectangle. And we'll do the same thing we just did with this cylinder over here. See if we can't make a shape. If we drew the exact same box, I guess that's a magnet. Can I parallel that a little better? I mean, we can, and we accidentally create a three-dimensional shape here. Now that feels wrong, because we wouldn't see both sides of that unless all we saw was the straight line between those. Keep drawing over it. Straight line that went from here. I think. We're gonna say I think. Just one of those moments where like, I think I understand three-dimensional shape. Now this line, let's draw it again. But let's draw a see-through version, right? So this is going to be directly under this top line. I think that's more realistic of a line. So all of these edges are parallel to one another. These four edges here if we've got just a rectangle that's been, you know, bent. Let's ink that out. Let's see where that lies with a little bit of, I say a little bit of ink, and we immediately draw this terrible line. Little segments at a time. New brush, by the way. Not the G pen. fact we'll get used to. So this wouldn't be a straight line. It would feel straight, but it is that curve that we just drew. We should like do some tapers with these, and I think just line practice. I've lost it. Where you at? Horrible at drawing clothes? Oh, horrible's a strong word. You're a beginner at drawing clothes. I am too. I haven't tried much. But there's definitely some classes lined up. I've got a couple of videos that when it is time to learn the clothes, I'm going to learn the clothes. Oh, that felt good. That's a good line. How do we end up? Yeah, a little crooked. Like, there's definitely some space over here to come back in. Which would change, you know, the shape on the left as well. Not that sharp. So now if we did the horizontal lines, it's a magnet. Haha. We've got magnetism on our side. I could draw clothes that are cool, but I can't make details. Yeah, like folds in fabric. That's what I imagine you're saying with wrinkles and stuff. Like making it look real. You know, we can draw nice flat clothing surfaces. They can be cool looking in concept, but making it look like it's sitting on a frame and a person. I get that. I think that's the challenge. And we can do a t-shirt. Can we do a t-shirt? But as soon as I put a person in here, you know, with a head, the neck, which we've... And then how does this clothing sit on their body? You know, is it just a skin-tight shirt like everything else I've been drawing so we see big muscles? No. It's going to have folds, and they're going to rest on parts of the body. They're going to react some way. When I was younger, it used to just be like, put these folds in them like this. It's still that. But it also used to be that too. Like, this is all I knew about it, because I was just copying from other people. Even the Zorro drawing I did not too long ago, I was just copying where the shadows were, and I think we said it a few times in the stream, is that it was like painting by the numbers. Like, it's painting by the numbers because you know the problem has been solved for me. It's been displayed for me on a 2D screen. I've just got to copy what I see, and there's shadows and lines that I was drawing that I didn't understand why they were there. And that's something to you know, in the future, I hope to understand why this shade was here, why this line was here. Sometimes it's easy, like, oh, highlight. This is on the side of the face where the light's coming from. This is a rounded shape. This would be the foremost piece of it. But something that did click while copying the reference was that the skin tone, the highlighting, the shading, as I was drawing it out. And we can even pull up that photo real quick. Did I save it proper like? Or am I gonna have to save? It's dangerous pulling up anything other than something I've named properly. So we're gonna have to go to completed and just look at the PNG. As I was painting and putting in the skin tone, it really didn't matter where my brush was going. The fact that I was adding a second tone, and in some cases a third tone, and in the case of the gray, actually not realizing that I was erasing, not coloring gray. It's supposed to be more of a purplish bruising. Anyway, by the time I got to the second and the third color in the face, it almost didn't matter where I was throwing the ink down. It was starting to pop out of the screen as a three-dimensional object. And that felt good. It felt like the colors were suddenly doing a lot of the heavy lifting of the object. Now, we talk about like wrinkles. Yeah, this is where I'm at too. Copy the wrinkles, kind of. Right? We didn't do as good of a... When we get to the details here, we weren't doing as good of a copy. We were kind of just throwing lines down and throwing shades over them and little highlights and, you know, where they kind of looked right. So it all has a sketchy quality to it. But I swear the colors on this... And this was like the third one I've colored. Really felt like they're doing a lot of awesome lifting. Now I'm sure we break this down and we can see that maybe the light's inconsistent, the shading, the highlights are inconsistent, but that they're there made it pop. And that felt really cool to do. Which is one of the nice motivating things when you're drawing, is when you get to something and it just feels right. Let's keep going. We're not in warm-up phase so much, but I want pages of cylinders. It's one thing I'm missing is pages of work. That grind. I don't do enough of it. Pages and upon pages of figure drawings. I've got like a dozen. But that's not on pages, on pages. Okay. I'll tell you another fun productivity tool I picked up was this the music you're hearing comes from a game on Steam called Spirit City Lo-Fi Sessions. I don't remember if it was free or cheap. I want to say it was free, but I don't know. And it is really just like 5 or 6 YouTube playlists by the same person. They are. It is ad-free. It is copyright-free, and there's a little game to it. A little bit of a game. Barely a game, but a game. There's some timers and some, standard habit forming tools that I think, I've used in the past one way or another. I'm not necessarily using them now, but it's nice to see them. Like, hey, I know that tool. That helps. Tracking habits. Alright, let's draw a cylinder we haven't drawn, an angle we haven't drawn. Bruh. What you got, bruh? I used the wrong color on my lines. Oh no. Was that not a Control-Z fix? Or you just been drawing on the line for way too long, and you're out of edits. It's so over. Need to remake it. Drawn so many lines were actually good with the wrong color. Happy little accidents. Just now you can just use them. Use those lines. Art. That's old wise man used to say that thing. Happy little accident. I just felt my thumb just then. It's like, sharp pain. How long have you been drawing on your thumb? Don't know. Probably most of this session. I have to actively think to go off of that. Off of that grip. Hey, water check, I got you. Today's water is Rockstar Pure Zero Fruit Punch. Carbonated water, #1 ingredient. Water, check. Staying hydrated. Alright, now let's do a cylinder like a joint, turning away. So if we put a this way's line, this way cylinder, and away from us. We're drawing through some stuff right now. Let's get the right lines. If I can't make the better oval. Definitely not feeling that line here. And then I want to actually erase it from the front side here. Have it just be behind this object, this first cylinder. Just darken that space here. Let's see if we can't get this curvature down. On that cylinder. Cool. Things and done. If you draw something out of your comfort zone, if you draw something out of your comfort zone and stuff. 1 second. You should try making actual stuff instead of just objects. Like if you draw something out of your comfort zone. I wouldn't say we're outside. I wouldn't say we're in my comfort zone right now, but you're not wrong. You need to draw things that make you uncomfortable, right? My main problem was hands, so I drew hands. They suck, but I can at least make them now. I'm just going to use my wrong color lines as a sketch, since I don't make sketches. There's not really a point when you use a mouse. You don't think so? You don't think sketching things out ahead of time with the mouse is a helpful tool? what I'm drawing now is are things that I wouldn't say I don't know if uncomfortable is the right word, but things that I want to be able to do seamlessly and better, and I don't feel like I can do right now. So, worst case, I'm working on shapes longer than I should, and it's slowing down some learning progress. But I never got that impression because I haven't drawn great cylinders today. Like, we're not putting down cylinders that make me go, I understand this concept. We can move on. These are the hours. These are the grinds. Yeah, so this one itself feels a little too... That's a terrible correction. It feels a little too wide this way for the rest of the cylinder. This curve does not equal that curve, but just barely. It's not really something I do. I just make the lines correct instead of redoing them later. I like drawing people and weapons stuff. I'm not really one to practice. I'll just do what I want to do in the future now until it becomes actually good. Hey, there you go. Knowing your method and having a way to stick to it. Because it's not the first time I've heard the advice. Draw what you want to draw. And it's not that I disagree with the advice. I'd like to think I am drawing what I want to draw. Now the finished idea, what I want to draw, I think, it's more comics, characters, landscapes. Well, comics, and to do those you need characters and landscapes, people. And there's something to be said about just starting a comic. The first is, you gotta get work on the bad stories, start understanding the paneling. Your first comic's gonna be bad, might as well get it out of the way. The other is, I'm a fundamental guy. In everything I do, I like to focus on the fundamentals I won't call it to the extremes, but I definitely like to sit there and focus on them. I think this black G-pen line screwed up my ability to really see the line. I'm not saying you need to do that. I'm just saying what I do. Oh, no, I love this. Don't take that the wrong way, Gabriel. I need to hear. I love hearing how other artists think and what they suggest, because otherwise I'm not getting that feedback. 90% of the reason I'm streaming is to make myself draw, to make myself sit down and fill out a page with cylinders, people, gesture, art. And like the other 10% is I don't have art friends. So having this conversation, having this back and forth, this is exactly the kind of thing I would love to hear. There's always a line where you're like, oh man, somebody's backseating my art progress, but I can have that conversation, which we're not having right now. This is not that conversation. So If anything, we have similar start times, right? Go a year from now, of two people drawing, with their own methods, similar amounts of time, and you go, where did that journey take us? Did it diverge? Do we learn something from it? You want to make a comic too? For years, I've wanted to make a comic. I've done web comics in the past when I've started trying to learn to draw. We're talking like 4, 5 comics. I think they were settled around. They definitely were settled around the idea of a baby Jesus messing with the baby devil. Not particularly religious, but it was a very funny concept for me. And then I haven't really touched it. Let's see. I don't draw them though, since I need to learn how to draw, and I can't really start the story. I just know the middle. I guess echo the same thing I said. There's something to be said about just doing it, but even I'm not following that particular advice right now. I had a friend that drew art and he's actually so lazy it's crazy. Like, his drawings are good, but he doesn't draw much recently, so I actually got better than him because of how long he hasn't drawn. There it is. The people I am jealous of, and jealous is a strong word. People I think I admire that they grew up drawing and never stopped. Like, they doodled, they drew, and it was something they just continued to do until they found that, wherever they were in their journey, that they were like 30 and had 20 years of drawing. That's awesome. That's super awesome. Not having an art friend is actually why I came to watch art streams. Hey, there you go. Hey, M. Young. Draw Balto getting cleaned up by Jax. Jax is a cleaner shrimp. Balto is a wolf dog from his movie. Could you try drawing, please? Oh, sorry, M. Young. We don't really take requests. We do talk and converse, but I don't really draw other people's requests. Sorry, man. Gabriel says, and that is kind of why I come to watch art streams. I need to know what other people think and how they draw. Like seeing how the insane arts are made. Yeah. There are some people. I've only watched a couple of art streams. I am bad at watching other people do things. Like, I don't normally do it, and I should. Whether it's... should's a strong word. But there are just so many artists who are readily drawing and doing their thing, and you can learn something from. That would be a habit that would improve my art. But then again, so is drawing on my own. I don't know, we're feeling lines right now. There is something to learn and absorb when watching somebody else draw. Let's come back here. Let's alphabet one more time. We do it in pencil very well? Not really. We're doing this, of course, for pen control. I'm trying not to... I've got to break this habit. The other grip habit. If anything, we call that the primary reason we're over here, is to remind myself to use a proper tripod. And I would use the other one all day if it wasn't going to injure my thumb. I would do art streams. In fact, I made like 1 or 2, but I have problems with talking and stuff. Yeah. Talking was the original reason I started streaming in the first place. That and wanting to learn StarCraft, right? StarCraft 2 was a game I started my YouTube channel on, but it was between that and talking. Like, I wanted to do these two things. The speaking, because I went on to teach for about 4 years, and I needed to become a better public speaker. someone who could stand in front of people and talk. And it helped. It helped a lot. So that's not a problem I have. But now, you know, doing art is a problem I have, and here we're back. We're back to finding something that we want to be good at, and we're putting time into it. Trying not to rotate, but I don't know why. So I want to say that this ends up being like that. We end up converging in that direction. Boxes. We're very close to having 250 of these to draw, but we're just now getting to the last assignment on that on the draw box program. These are the kind of boxes they're having me draw there. I'm good at talking, but I need to be friends with that person, or they speak first. I'll comment a hell of a lot of stuff on what they say. I'm the kind of person that analyzes others before speaking, so when others speak first, it's easier to know what to say. And that would be the key difference, right? Because when you're streaming, you got to talk to yourself. Especially when there's nobody there. The idea is you should be talking to yourself. Now, that's to say, if you want to stream and your goal is to have people watch, right? If you don't care about whether people are watching or not, you could talk less. You could never talk. You can do whatever you want. In fact, there's probably a huge benefit if I just shut up and made mine a quiet stream, so I would just focus on the art, and nobody would stick around, and that's technically fine. Like the point of this stream isn't to grow an audience. That was the point of the last time I was streaming, was to grow an audience, and we did really well. We enjoyed our time, but this stream was started with different intentions. I don't think that one. Different intentions that I could lean into. We could just not focus at all on whether or not people were here. But I don't know if that's in my nature. Instead, what I've done is I've just turned off the viewer counts and not thought about it. Let's think about these lines. They're easy because we just look at what's converging, what the angle of convergence is. For each of their pairs. You might find it. I say easy, but did we do it right? Yeah, I mean, relatively. That feels like a box. Feels like a tower we're looking up at. You can actually see this on me because I went and said hi and how are you, and then I started yapping. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, definitely slowly came out and started talking. It also makes me think about how I'm actually passionate about art, and I've never knew it since I yap so much about it now. Looks like a corner. Here we go. We can add some stuff to it. Bring it out. We should make sure it stays in perspective best we can. No, we don't need that line. That line's a little unnecessary. But I am trying to thicken a border line up here. Ah, now we're looking up at a building suddenly. Maybe it's got a tower at the top. Is that how it would look? That'd be pretty big, so let's shorten it. We wouldn't see that much of it. Ah, now the building. Now it looks more like outside though. I think the bottom is too visible. Hold on, if you flip it vertically, it looks more like a building. Isn't that flipped vertically? Or are you talking like building? You definitely don't see the underworks of a building this way. If we were standing, is there a way to like, if we were standing like, let's do this. Like this. And then made it real big. Aha. Hold on, if you flip it vertically, it looks more like a building. Look like upside down, like nope, not that selection tool. Give me lasso. I could have rotated the page, but well, now it looks like you're looking down on a building, right? If we cover up that antenna. And this will be part of the 250 box challenge, but the general idea of drawing this box, and again, not an art class, just thinking out loud. I said these lines should all generally converge in the same direction at the same rate. These lines should do the same, and they're going to the left. And then these lines should do the same, and they would be going, yeah, down and to the right. So vanishing points in these directions and a really far point off. So the only things that could be correct or wrong, I guess, would be the consistency between the converging. Like, if this, are all these points converging to the same line, or when I intersect them, are they all going to be off, right? That's the idea. Or is it close enough? We can probably see like this line here converges too strongly. Like that one does. Maybe this one doesn't converge strongly enough. I think this one or this one need adjustment as well. But if I color it blue, it'll be the TARDIS. If you make the bottom smaller and the top bigger, it looks like a better perspective for a building, since you don't really see the bottom of a building, instead see the top. So like a top view, basically you made the exact opposite perspective for what I see. Art. Alright, let's do it again. More boxes. So a couple rules when we make this particular, use this particular method, is we get our Y out. And each of these angles, right here, here, and here, for now, until I start to understand more, need to be greater than 90 degrees. And this is the corner that most closely faces us. Now then this line, right here, must be converging. And I think parallel is about there, so converging about there is fine. And then on the other side, we converge at a similar amount. So if parallel is about there, converging similarly, it's about there. We rotate the box, and the line we're looking at now, converging to is this one. So some amount of convergence. I think parallel is here. So we're definitely converging. We get a point. And then the same level of convergence on this side. So if this is parallel-ish, we converge about there. Rotate over. Last two lines, let's converge. With this line, parallel is about there, so we go in. And we rotate over. We want to converge in about the same way. So we say that's parallel, and we say something like that. So then we have our box. Just darken the lines we've chosen. And we can take out the lines we haven't. Fix rotation, do some more erasing, some cleanup. See that corner flares out a bit. There we go. Boxed in a random ass direction. There's some light convergence. I'm trying to see that there might be a problem here in these lines. No, there's a convergence. It's pretty good. Alright, let's see. Alright, hold on. Now it's a corner again. Okay, now it's a 3D rectangle. I used to just guess stuff before my friends finished drawing, so I guess it's just happened now. Ignore it. Yeah, no problem. Do your thing. I tried not to look up between every stroke, right? I never get anything done. It's kind of box, but it looks like it has been thrown because of the unerased lines. It gives it more of a moving effect. Lines. Now, of course, the exercise here is trying to get to the point where we could draw these without the tools, but you know, it is at least a box from a perspective. Okay, so the point here would be to eventually be able to draw a box at a perspective I choose, a perspective and a rotation that I choose from imagination. At the moment, we are drawing boxes that are in a random rotation, that at least follow the rules of perspective to a point. A good enough perspective, which is why we focused a bit on converging the line. Now, we are just repeating some of the exercises we're doing right now on Drawbox. And so these are some fundamentals I'm trying to reinforce. I do need to finish that assignment, but I have unhooked all my traditional art cameras because it was just a lot of wires, and now we're mostly digital anyway. If you could try it, it could definitely have been a thrown box still moving in the air. Oh, we can definitely always, you know, choose to do something with a box. Right, give it that effect. Random. Maybe even blur the front a bit somehow. Tilt the pen, do some shading. We'll shade a side of the box. It's actually really nice to have a nice little bit of tilt with the digital pen, and it gives a completely different, it gives the pencil effect, right? We could even tilt and press harder. Give ourselves the shading. A darker shade down here. Try to make the box pop out a bit more 3D, but also enjoy a little coloring. I almost say also working on tone, but not the intention. Although pencil and ink shading is something I'm interested in. That will be my preferred method of shading black and white, and I think I'm going to lean heavily in the black and white direction, just as an art form. I want to know enough about coloring, shading, and painting to make something. Oh, that's too... I got to tilt the pen more. Trying to make this a consistent blend now. Now that we're here, let's have some fun with it, you know? Now that we've decided to shade the boxes in. Give that a rotation. And this one up here. That might be as dark as the software lets it get. I believe if we had a charcoal color. That is more of a cartoony thrown vibe. Oh yeah, I have no idea how to make something look like it's thrown. These are all... That is random. That is just... We have done a thing. We are doing things. Stuff like two opposite colors in the color wheel looks good. Yeah, that is the maximum of my color theory. And it goes a step farther. Here we go. This is what I know. I know that red, and the opposite of whatever that is, that looks good. I know you can do that with a triple color too. So we go like this red, this green, and this blue will all look kind of good. And you can rotate that a little bit to do this purple, this blue, and this orange. Color theory. That's the limit. That's what I know. Also, it's fun to put colors down. That's kind of it, though. I mean, fair. Oh. I think I've also seen the color, the square, be a triangle too. I gotta figure out why that's a thing. Alright, let's keep going. Oh, I'm sorry, not the color. We need the regular gray box. We'll let ourselves sketch this out a bit rough. We're going to do some real short vanishing point there. How about that? Real sharp foreshortening, I think, is the way you say it. And then we just have to get it consistent across all the corners. That's the wrong. And so this line, that line, no, we have to rotate that box. Hey, with the water check, I got you, brother. There's water. This is the last of it. I'm gonna need to go get some more. Then where we draw here, I want to do a little more shallow. So that's parallel right about there.
Very tall building vibes from that NGL.
Oh, absolutely. And that's actually really good to think about for me. Because when you, understanding what's going to happen when you take a big foreshortening like that, and helping that stick in my brain. It's very good. Actually wide. It looks wider too because it's foreshortened on this side and the top. So let's get the right lines because we've sketched out a lot of it. Let's try to erase what's not sticking around so that I can better see it. I think the question I have for myself is, are the left and the right lines, the leftmost and the rightmost lines on these vertical lines, are they sharing the same foreshortening? So let's throw some actual just straight lines on it. Let's just do some of this the cheater way. And then get a good look at what we've tried to do. Does it follow the rules of a box? Kind of, let's see. So, taking out the contour lines. Okay, they are contouring, but this one is not sharp enough. It would theoretically be out here. Okay, next line. We'll do with the green. We've got this line's really sharp. So this line, close, but not quite there. Closer than the red line. And then a blue line for these points. You can see we've made the same oh, actually, I'll take that as a close enough. Like that one's close enough. Where we would go with these boxes then is most of these lines are good. So let's put black on top. Let's make these lines a little thicker, and let's just go ahead and get an eyeball. Oh, not a rectangle. Line, please. Thank you. Let's get a. All right, we're on. Suddenly we're just on the wrong layer. Okay. Let's draw this box with the corrected vanishing points. I think those are the big changes, so let's just put the black line over top of everything else we've already drawn. I just want to see it. We want to visualize the box ourselves once it's been corrected. Let's go ahead and erase some stuff. Clean it up just a little bit more. Okay, there it is. That's the more appropriate box. So what we take away from that, is getting pretty close. Got to pay a little bit more attention to that third edge than when we put it down. No idea what you're doing with those weird blue and green red lines. What I'm doing is with the blue lines. Let's say red, blue, and all the colored lines. What I'm doing is finding the natural vanishing point in perspective for these boxes. And so I'm checking my work. I'm making sure that all the lines, all the edges of the box are converging in close enough to the right direction. We do this for our own feedback. I don't have another feedback loop, let's say a teacher to sit here and tell me, yes, that's right, no, that's wrong, fix this. So we've got to find our own grading scale. And this is a good one, because a box in proper perspective converges to the vanishing point, right? Like that's perspective 101. So that's all I'm doing is checking my own work. You can see with these lines that, they share a better vanishing point now that we've spent some time adjusting. Now, if something that is off perspective looks good, I first want to get as close to perfect as possible and make any off perspective decisions a decision and not a mistake. It's like when you're drawing out of proportions for your characters, they need to be intentional. And if it's a stylistic choice, those proportions need to be consistent. And the best way to do that is to do it be able to do it the correct way. Try making a bunch of circles to connect them to create perspective. Big to shortest, of course, saw it on YouTube, so it's good. Trust. No, I mean, there's what we are doing earlier here. When we're up here making this stuff. Oh. What's the general idea is I need to be better at creating shapes and forms. Look real and three-dimensional, right? So the idea was to make something here, or the idea still is, right? That is appropriately 3D. We do that a little bit with these lines. I kind of help it pop. But that object needs some work, right? Like this object over here was the same thing. That's why I'm drawing all these cylinders. That's why we're drawing boxes. Now if we draw something with more shallow converging lines, that does mean it's not as close to the viewer. For us, the eyeball. Oh, that's the big tilt to we are. We're being very shaky with our lines. Not shaky. The idea is we're not choosing good lines. That one right there. We're scratching. We're searching. The searching lines. I'm trying to avoid them because they feel good, like because your brain fills in the missing detail. Even if we're gonna make shallow converging lines, I think they do have to converge a little more than that. So all these thick lines, my brain will fill in the detail and place the correct line where it needs to be, but it means I'm not committing to the line. I want to commit to the line. I like to erase what I think the wrong lines are. Sometimes that works out. We've got some figures that we've sorted out with the searching lines. I guess I will reiterate, like, these are the thoughts of a person who is learning. We are not teaching. These methods are a combination of my own and or what I've learned lately. We're talking out loud, mostly to keep our... Yeah, I mean, aside from this first vertical line, aside from the main corner, which I would draw more straight up and down. Oh wait, how rotated are we? Oof. Oh, I guess we're super rotated. I would still draw this more flat. Let's pick a line. Such a bad angle for me normally. We should be rotating the box as we draw it to our good, comfy angles, but it's whatever. I ain't doing that because I hate exercises. I just go for the real thing. I speak all suggestion, by the way. Never went to art school, whatever. I did watch YouTube, so all I say is trust. Don't see the vision here. When it rotates, it looks like a box, but when it's normal, I just can't see the vision. Well, I mean, if it looks like a box in one direction, and it doesn't look like a box in that direction, or that direction, or that direction, well, it's still a box. Maybe maybe a series of internal lines help if we try to break this object down. Like that, with lighter inside lines. Darken the outside. Probably some erasing because we've got a lot of searching lines in there too. Box. Now, I'm gonna try that again with a different color. Is it more box-like out here? No. I think we got the... Did we get the perspective on it correct? I mean... The answer is probably not, but how wildly off are we? So no, I think the original lines work. I think that line works. Because this line follows those three. This one here follows those. The other one that you just drew, can't see it. So this one, let's check it. Let's check the work. So the work says lines. Let's check our vanishing points. So if anything, that's a pretty big error. But we could say that they're almost parallel because the vanishing point's at infinity going that direction. But that can't be true for all of them, right? So let's check the other colors. The vanishing point goes the other way on this one. I'd say a little off, but they are converging. They're all converging. That left one needs to be sharper. Converging this way. And that left one needs to be converging more. So big errors here would be this line needs to be in about there. And this line needs to be in about there. So the real box, if we're having problems seeing the box, could be fixed right there with those two. Let's try that. Now let's do a selection around the box. And I think we can invert that selection, right? I don't want to delete everything. I forgot, don't want to delete everything.
Question above.
Yeah, what's up? Oh, why don't you use layers? Oh, we do. Right now we're just sketching. It would make it easier to, say, erase the things I don't want to erase, but nothing here is... the lack of layers are not currently getting in my way. If I delete right there, yeah. I want to do minus selection and then draw this way. I want to do just an eraser. Big ol' ass eraser. That's what we're gonna do. There we go. Alright, so let's rotate this to the original position. Let's try to find... Oh, right, that's what's confusing me. This right here, these lines continue to go out. There, let's put this in a good thick black line. Yeah, okay, I see what's happening. Alright. Do some erasing. Clean up all the scratch. Do we have a better box? Or do we have a... Did we actually really need to fix that green line, or did the blue line screw it up? Oh, now it's just not a square. Are we sure about some of these these lines? Alright, moving on. Moving on. Rotation, moving in. Cool. Yeah, all I'm really doing is finding space that's empty and drawing over it. We gave ourselves a huge space. Like, what's currently on the screen is 4K. You see, we've got all of this space. Just places to doodle. Let's do it again. Nice and big, large one. We have enough space. Here, let's do straight vertical here. Let's do the one I'm most comfortable with. And let's take out all the sketching lines. One line. Very important we get one line. That's going to be the line everything else is based on. And if we keep using sketching lines, we're never going to be looking at... It's going to be hard to find the actual corners. So let's try to do this well. So we converge a bit. Gotta find a mark right about there. I'm gonna come on the other side, rotate around, converge a bit, find that that's a pretty good line, and we're gonna draw to it. Alright, so now we've set the rules for convergence on two sides. Let's do the third. So I think that's parallel. I want to go in just a bit. What about there? So now the rules on convergence are this line and this far right line. It is a slightly goes in. Right about there. Nope. Well, yes and no. Right about there. This other line we have in place. There we go. Now what we're going to do is follow the rules we set for ourselves. Or the lines we set up for ourselves. So we see a slight convergence on the right. We want a slight convergence on the left. This would be parallel. This would be convergence. Somewhere in here. Rotate around. This would be parallel. This would be slight convergence. Somewhere here. I see the mark I made, but it's very faint. drawing not to the corner. There we go. There it is. Oof. Alright, original rotation. Back it out. Let's draw the inside. So, easily enough, this is mostly vertical. And this would fall in the same line. In the middle of that convergence. I'm drawing a lot of extra lines, but maybe this one will help. That line, that line. I'm trying to find. Yeah, see, these are the little mistakes we make. And I think the mistake is this line should be converging more, because this line here feels like it's actually doing the opposite of converging. I need it to go in. More like that. And then similar, I think, happens on the left. I mean, it happens on the right because we converged too much, but which should. Oh, it changes everything. Good. That line's mostly vertical. We just find where those lines converge. That feels off. So if I were to do I keep doing the pen, I need a pencil. I feel like the line is there-ish. Which doesn't add up, of course, for that line. Line is there-ish, which means the vertical would have to slant. And that's just a collection of a whole bunch of tiny mistakes we've made setting this up. We wanted more vertical. And we're curving because we're drawing from our wrist here. So let's not do that. Okay, that feels like a better box. I think we found it. Let's do some shading, because what we have, inadvertently, is a box under a box. We decided that this box was on top. We can lighten up the back side of this too, because this is something we're seeing through. We'll just do some reverse hashing here with the eraser. Make it lighter. Clean up the edges. The insides, I guess, not the edges, the sides. Try to make them more visually understood. We could even come in here with the lasso tool and hash out a bunch of little pieces. Cool. All right, let's take some pencil shadings. We don't want the G pen, we want the pencil. So we'll make the right side the darkest shape on both sides. We're gonna use try a bigger pencil for this. Hey, BRB, no problem. Big one looks real good. Thank you. I think we didn't have the tilt enough there. Trying to get the outline of the shade. This is the darker color, so as dark as we can get it. And as evenly as we can do it. I think I want to also come back with a pen. Over the top of it afterwards. Pencil though. You can see it's such a thick pencil, we're going outside the bounds. Which apparently we've decided we would clean up with an eraser instead of fixing. It's not the project we want to spend the whole day on, but let's go back with the pen. Let's try to make good lines here. Let's make at least this box give it some good lines. Too thick. Not what I was going for. A little bit of taper. Rotate around. Ghost. Or ignore ghosting completely and just draw. Alright, let's go back to the pencil. Light shading. Smaller. I want to be visibly darkened, but not like a middle shade between what we've done to the right and the white side. couple of times. We're slowly getting, I say slowly, I'm moving that brush fast. Go at it from another angle. Careful around the corners. Rotate it again because I don't think we get the bottom highlights very well. The bottom shading. The bottom, yeah, coloring, shading, painting, penciling. Boxes. Stretch. What's this message over here? Alright. Shake that out. Feeling pretty good. I mean, we've filled out our pages with some exercises. We're getting some box time in. It is time to go eat some lunch, and I think we're gonna stick to our pattern. We're gonna eat some lunch. We're gonna try to do some more coursework after lunch, and you know we'll continue this. What? 2.5? It's only been 2.5 hour streams until I notice, and if we notice we're not putting enough work in off stream work, if we're not drawing enough, we'll start coming back. But yesterday was good. We sat down, did a bunch of draw box stuff after the stream, and I guess that's the whole sentence. We did a bunch of draw box stuff, and we are applying that down here today. But tomorrow, I think the goal will be to do a piece, do something finished. I think I want to do at least 1 to 2 of those a week. Make us put down a character, a reference copy, maybe a still life, a still life picture, something. Where I want to put down something tomorrow that's not going through the exercises. But I do love that this is work for me. This is progress, and I like sitting here in kind of this space for a while. So yeah, thank you so much for hanging out, guys. We're gonna have a day. We're gonna call it a day. We're gonna get some food. I'm hungry. Fortunately, we've got dinner left over from yesterday. Some pasta. Gonna throw some sauce on it. We're gonna have a good enough lunch. See y'all tomorrow. Catch us about 11 o'clock for said stream. Bye-bye.